Emily Warren's world shattered when she discovered her late husband Jack's death wasn't an accident, but the result of dangerous secrets he had hidden from everyone. Garrett Collins, the wild hermit who seemed untouchable, held the key to truths that powerful local figures desperately wanted to keep buried. But fate had a surprising twist. Emily and Garrett joined forces to expose the lies and corruption that cost Jack his life. Just wait until you hear how this gripping story unfolds, and why justice ultimately prevailed against all odds. Emily Warren stood at the threshold of a new chapter in her life, her gaze lingering on the distant rim of the rugged Arizona Canyon, the sharp cliffs, painted by the soft hues of the setting sun, seemed to whisper secrets that she wasn't yet ready to hear. For 3 long years, the memory of her late husband Jack had clung to her like a shadow, constant, unyielding, and filled with questions that no one could answer. Jack had been her steadfast companion, a man of quiet strength and gentle wisdom. His sudden death in what the authorities called a tragic accident left Emily adrift in a sea of grief and unanswered doubts. The house in town, once a haven filled with their shared dreams, now felt like a cage holding memories too heavy to bear. Driven by a need to escape the suffocating noise of the city and the weight of those memories, Emily made a bold decision. She sold their home and invested her savings in a remote cabin perched on the wild edge of a canyon, miles from the nearest town. Here she hoped to find the solitude necessary to heal, a place where silence would drown out the echoes of the past. But peace was not so easily won. On her first morning in this harsh and beautiful wilderness, Emily encountered Garrett Collins, a man known by locals as the Wild Hermit. Garrett was a rugged figure, weathered by years under the unforgiving sun and winds of the canyon. His eyes, sharp and deep-set, seemed to hold 1,000 unspoken stories. To the outside world, he was a mystery wrapped in a rough exterior, someone more animal than man. Despite the rumors and her own initial hesitation, Garrett approached Emily with a surprising offer of help. Though a man who shunned company, he extended shelter and guidance to the newcomer, an unexpected kindness that unsettled her. From the very beginning, something about Garrett stirred a strange familiarity in Emily. His quiet murmurs, his knowing glances. It was as if he carried a secret tightly bound to the memory of Jack. The unease grew like a slow-burning ember inside her, drawing her deeper into the canyon's shadowed mysteries. Emily felt that this meeting was no accident. The wild hermit, guarding his silence, seemed to be the key to unlocking a truth she was only beginning to suspect, and one that might change everything she thought she knew about her husband. That evening, the canyon was bathed in the fading glow of the sun, casting long shadows that stretched like silent witnesses over the rocky cliffs. Emily sat quietly by the small fire outside her cabin, the cool desert air carrying the faint scent of sagebrush. Garrett was nearby, his silhouette barely visible against the twilight. Suddenly, his voice broke the stillness, low and almost hesitant, but unmistakably clear. Jack was not who he seemed. The word struck Emily like a thunderclap, her breath caught in her throat, heart pounding with a mix of panic and disbelief. How could this stranger know a truth so personal, a secret she had shared only with Jack in the quiet privacy of their home? Her mind spiraled as fear and confusion tangled together. Was it possible that everything she thought she knew about Jack was a lie? The man she loved, the man she trusted, was hiding a shadow beneath the surface. What followed was a tense and painful conversation. Garrett's guarded voice revealing a story too heavy for the daylight. Jack, it seemed, had been caught in a dangerous game with local authorities and powerful figures who operated in the canyon's hidden corners. This wasn't a mere accident or random tragedy. It was something deeper, darker. Garrett explained that Jack had kept this secret not only from Emily, but from nearly everyone who cared about him. He had tried, in his own way, to protect Emily and their home from the fallout, but the cost was far greater than she could have imagined. As the truth unfolded, a storm of anger welled up inside Emily. The man she loved had been deceived and used. Worse still, his life might have been taken because of lies and betrayal woven into the very fabric of the community she had just entered. The canyon's silence felt heavier now, filled with the weight of secrets and dangers that were no longer distant shadows but pressing realities. Emily knew one thing for certain. She could no longer run from the past. The fight for truth and for Jack's memory had just begun. The fire of anger that had sparked within Emily quickly transformed into a fierce determination. No longer willing to be a passive victim of lies and secrets, she found an unexpected ally in Garrett. Together they formed a fragile but resolute partnership, two souls bound by shared pain and a relentless hunger for the truth. Garrett was no longer just the wild hermit Emily had first met. As their trust grew, he began to reveal the depths of his connection to Jack. They had been childhood friends, inseparable despite the harshness of their surroundings. Garrett was the guardian of Jack's most closely held secrets, knowledge that had made him a target just as much as Jack himself. But their quest for justice was far from easy. From the moment they started digging, resistance surfaced like shadows on the canyon walls. Threatening messages arrived at Emily's doorstep. Unseen eyes watched their every move. Officials who should have protected them turned into obstacles, determined to keep the truth buried. Yet with every challenge, Emily's resolve only hardened. The woman who had once sought refuge from pain was now a force to be reckoned with. Garrett's calm strength and intimate knowledge of the past gave her courage she never knew she had. Together, they peeled back the layers of deception, exposing corruption that seeped into the foundations of the community. The truth, messy, painful, and undeniable, began to emerge from the darkness. Emily's world had been shattered, her trust broken, but in that very destruction, she found a new purpose. No longer a widow lost in grief, she became a fighter, ready to face the storm and bring justice to light, whatever the cost. The weight of hidden truths finally lifted from Emily's shoulders, like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness. After months of uncertainty, fear, and relentless pursuit, the full story was now clear. She understood who Jack truly was. Not just the husband she loved, but a man caught in impossible circumstances, fighting to protect those he cared about until the very end. A profound sense of relief washed over her. The fog of confusion that had clouded her heart began to clear, replaced by a quiet acceptance. The pain of loss remained, but it no longer felt like a suffocating shadow. Instead, it transformed into something stronger, a foundation for new hope. Garrett stood by her side, no longer the wild, solitary figure she had once feared, but a steadfast friend and ally. Through their journey, he had revealed layers of himself as complex and genuine as the canyon itself. Together, they had turned secrets into strength and isolation into connection. As the first rays of morning painted the rugged canyon walls with warm golden hues, Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose. The silence of the desert no longer felt lonely. It was alive with possibility. This was a new beginning, a chapter where grief became resilience and buried secrets became bridges, leading her toward a future shaped not by fear or doubt, but by courage and understanding. With the dawn came peace, and with peace came the promise of brighter days ahead.